Welcome to Effervescent, where we embrace a full circle approach to health. I'm excited that you're here today for another episode. And like always, we're going to start out with some breath work with Kinley.
Okay. Let me get a little situated. Let's keep this one really simple. So go ahead and take a breath. You don't even have to close the eyes. And then on your second breath, see if you can widen your rib cage just a little bit more than you did the last time. And on this last one, see if you can open your rib cage in 360 degrees, all directions, as you inhale as big as you can. And then soften the tummy as you exhale. There you go. Take her away.
I love it. It's such a great way to start. So thank you for doing that. I'm just going to jump freaking right in.
Yeah, I think we should. We're all really nervous about this episode.
This is one of those times where I'm like, okay, I'm just excited to see where this conversation goes and excited to hear feedback. And there'll be lots of different kinds of feedback, and that's fine. But just to start it out, since we started our podcast, recording our podcast in December, I started, what's it called? Monjaro, and what's the other name for it?
GLP-1.
GLP-1. I mean, it's just kind of a big thing that people aren't talking about yet because there's so much wrapped up in it. And of course, the first question is, have you lost weight? Yes. I think since December, I've lost like 25 pounds, 20 to 25 pounds. I'd have to look at it to see if that's exactly right. For sure, 20. And it is crazy for so many reasons. And maybe I should...
Yeah, I think people are like, what the heck is a GLP-1?
Yeah, maybe we should back up.
Wegovy,
For a
Ozempic.
There's so many...
Zepbound.
Yeah.
Zepbound.
Ozempic is like the one that people usually say.
It's so GLP-1s is the class of the drug. And
It stands for glucagon. Is that how you say the word?
I have no idea.
Glucagon, GL-like peptide or protein. I can't remember if it's peptide or protein. Glucagon-like peptide, because our body makes hormones and it makes glucagon. And this is basically that hormone replacement. And it helps for people who their body doesn't make as much of that hormone. This helps their body have it.
It also slows down digestion. So then you're not feeling hungry as often because you still have food in your stomach. So then you're not, getting those signals and cravings that you would have normally had. But I will say, like, I do not know a lot about it. So whatever we say in this podcast, like, we are not...
research it.
Yeah, we are not doctors. We have not researched it. It's just experience-wise and thoughts.
And we think it's an important conversation to have because, I mean... Hello, it's scary to have this conversation on a health podcast because instantly a lot of people's judgment will be like, you're cheating or you're how unhealthy. And so...
Yeah, there's a lot of shame that comes
so
with different ways people choose to try to help themselves.
Yeah, so we want to share like, this is our experiences and we come from all different places in it and... just really to talk about it because it's something that needs to be talked about.
Yeah, I mean, people are talking about it. It's all over the internet, honestly. And I'm going to give a little bit of background about why I chose to try it. I remember first when I started hearing all these ways that stars are losing weight, blah, blah, blah. And I never really tune into that stuff. I honestly don't. I had no idea about it for a long time until I heard somebody say, well, don't you know that's why all the ladies in the neighborhood are losing weight or whatever. Somebody said something like that. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I was at my hormone doctor not too long after that. And I asked about it. I said, what is this? What does it mean? And that was probably like a year and a half ago. And so he told me about it and he said, if you want to try it, you can try it, kind of a thing. And I was like, okay. So I tried it for a minute. This is like a year and a half ago. I tried it for like, I think 2 months. And then I kind of got freaked out. I think I lost 10 pounds and then I went off of it and I gained the weight back like what always happens. And I remember, reading all the negative potential side effects or the long-term side effects we don't even know yet because it is pretty new. And I got freaked out and I stopped taking it. And up until that point, I had already been working really hard on eating better, being more active, and exercising and all that stuff for my eyes, especially. And because just blood sugar levels and stuff affect your eye pressure. And I didn't know that until I was losing my vision. And so I wanted to do whatever I could to help my eyesight to keep my blood sugars regulated. So I had already lost about 10 pounds, I would say, just very slowly for like the previous 2 years or something like that. And before that, I had to have a hysterectomy when I was 34. And so I went into premenopause and menopause very young. I was done totally.
Which isn't studied and talked about a ton either.
Yeah. So I was totally done with like menopause by 40, which is very young. And up until that point, my body had always regulated. I think I've said once on this podcast before, even after every baby, I would gain between 30 to 50 pounds. And every time I was able to eat healthy and be active and I would lose weight. And it wasn't until I went through menopause at such an early age that my body couldn't regulate anymore, even though I was on hormone replacement therapy and things like that. So then fast forward, I stopped it. I was nervous and I waited a whole other year, I think, till this last December. And I thought, okay, I talked to the hormone doctor again and I said, okay, I didn't really stay on it. What do you think? And he said, well, you have to stay on it longer than just a month or two for your body to even just kind of get into regulating itself and the new normal and stuff like that. And I said, okay. So I kind of just promised myself I'm going to try for 6 months to a year, depending on how I feel. And if it doesn't feel right or I get freaked out again, I'll stop. And honestly, at first, I didn't notice anything. I didn't lose weight at all for several months, like December, January, February. And I'm like, what is going on? But what I did notice is that I was not as hungry, like Brighton brought up, I was not as hungry, and I was still eating way more food than I needed. And it taught me a lot about, wow, I'm trying to emotionally regulate with food when I'm not even hungry. Because here I am, like, I'm not even hungry, but I'm going to have my meals. And I'm not I'm not one of those people that eats like tons of food or anything or tons of sweets. I just would eat maybe larger portion control than I needed. And I didn't even realize that like I was eating so often just out of habit or for social things or for emotional regulation. And it taught me. So it took me a few months to even realize that that's what I was doing. And then when I started kind of listening to my body better and saying, okay, I'm not actually as hungry, I started being more conscious about I'm going to prepare healthy foods. I want to add in things that I feel like my body needs instead of being more of the restrictive mindset. So I did that. And at first, what I noticed after that, I guess second, is the inflammation that I've had in my body for at least 3 years kind of out of nowhere started to go down. So like my thyroid, lymph nodes, not my thyroid. My lymph nodes were really swollen on my neck and hard, and even like different places that you have lymph nodes, I would feel swollen and my stomach felt so swollen and like just inflammation everywhere. And what I started noticing is that my clothes started fitting looser even though I wasn't losing weight. And I wasn't hurting all the time. Like my stomach wasn't kind of pushing out bloated and my neck wasn't as tight and I could move more easily. And I was like, well, even if I don't lose weight, that's actually, I feel better. And so I actually went to a different doctor, and I'm giving quite a bit of detail because I feel like it is relevant when you're considering or thinking about these things. I went to a different doctor and I just said, I want you to just kind of watch me as I'm going through this process and help me know that I'm healthy or that I'm not doing any damage. So she ran all of my blood panels and everything like that just to check where my hormones were, to check lots of different kinds of things. And when she checked me and we compared it to my previous doctor, I had gone from being 1 point into being diabetic with my A1C, and now I'm several points below. I don't know if I'm considered pre-diabetic now, maybe, but I totally took me out of the red flag zone of areas that I believe will hurt my health in the long run. And I had lost weight between the time I had seen her. She said, well, it's working. You are losing weight. And like I said, we're managing my blood levels and all these things just to kind of watch it. And I don't want to do anything that will harm me more than it will help me.
But being like points underneath that diabetes range you were talking about is a huge deal. Huge.
For my longevity as far as my life.
Yeah.
My eyesight. My eye condition is genetic. I don't know if I've ever said the name. It's macular telangiectasia. I think I might have said it once. I can't necessarily change that, but I can prolong the vision that is affected by my A1C level, because you can lose vision even by having high A1C and blood sugars that are out of control. So I felt like, okay, it really is like, heart disease, all these things that are tied to having a high A1C. So I guess this is where I bring to a question to you is like, it is a more, I would say, extreme way to try to reset that. And in my opinion, I think I could go how I have been, which is not seeing pretty much any change for years, even though I'm active and I'm not perfect eating, but I'm aware of what I eat and I do these things. Or I can kind of do a hard reset, which is what I've chosen, and learn different habits. I've started to exercise a lot more on schedules so that it's not just like when I feel like it, and been more aware of what I'm eating. So now I'm just kind of rambling, but what do you think? I know there's people that are going to say, like you said, this is a health podcast, and here you are talking about something that's not natural and could harm you. For me, I feel like long run, it's my best choice.
Mm-hmm. So what's the question?
What do you think about it?
Oh,
my thoughts. So I had just found out probably last week or something. And I mean, as a personal trainer, I love health and wellness. I've been looking at it a ton, and just even just hearing podcasts and whatnot. I have tons of thoughts. I'm going to try and keep them really concise. One, I think if you are struggling with blood sugar and diabetes and you are at that point in those tests that you ran, for anybody listening, I think anything to get you off of those levels is really, really important. And yes, I think diet and exercise can be a way that you do that. But I also think if you need, you want longevity and it's been really hard to do it with diet and exercise for a numerous amount of reasons, I think that is a smart way to just get you off of that level. It can be really dangerous. Yeah, so that's my thoughts with that. I think what's hard is, okay, one more thing about that, and then I'll go into more of the culture-wise thing. This is my worry with Ozempic, with anybody thinking about taking it, and I think I already said this to you too. It's absolutely nothing to do with taking something that helps you. It's learning the habits and maintaining the habits on or off the drug is so important, because the big thing that happens with Ozempic that I've seen, and we actually talked about this if you go back and listen to our weightlifting episode and how important muscle is. Ozempic makes you not hungry, right? And then if you're only choosing to eat like let's say carbs and fats instead of protein, and you're not lifting, it eats your muscle like crazy. And that is extremely concerning in terms of longevity wise. So if someone is getting on Ozempic, so let's say you're thinking about getting on Ozempic, or I keep saying Ozempic, but GLP-1, yeah. Please focus on weightlifting even more than cardio, because you're already going to be losing weight, okay? You're going to be probably. And so please focus on really eating your protein when you're hungry, and weightlifting so your body doesn't eat your muscle for a numerous amount of reasons. Because if you ever are planning to get off of Ozempic, a lot of people will say, well, my weight just came back. Here's a thought that I have with that. one, a lot of that probably has to do with emotional eating, coming back, like you said. So I think it's so
Portion
interesting.
control.
Yeah, is like you need to learn these skills now that you're on Ozempic to be like, oh, this is kind of what it looks like. So then when I get off it, I have a plan. Like, so truly have a plan. If you're planning to get off it, like get on a good regimen, think about portion sizes and what's good, and just be aware. Like Kinley talks about all the time is being aware of how you're feeling. I struggle with emotional eating, and I think that's a whole other topic we could talk about sometime. Is I absolutely notice when I'm stressed out, I turn to food and my body craves food more, and that's actually very scientific. But again, have a plan while you're on it, learn these skills and exercise and eating healthy and all these things, and then have a plan if you're planning to get off of it as well. And I think that paired with a GLP-1 can actually be incredibly beneficial to people. I think there's, a lot of like trainers and people online that are just like, never, no, never. And I don't agree with that whatsoever. I think there's going to be new technologies that come in to our lives, especially with AI. Sorry if you guys can hear that. We're just going to keep talking. There's a weed whacker guy outside. I think there's going to be, with AI, it's already making strides in terms of healthcare, where like people are like, oh, we're going to be able to live to like 130 because of AI and like all this crazy stuff. So it's like, use the tools that we have. Obviously, do your own research. Very much so. Talk to people who've been on it and make your choice for yourself. So sorry, that was so long.
No.
I honestly loved it.
Yeah.
Good, glad. And then last thing to do with culture. This is the only reason why like I don't like the GLP-1s. It's nothing to do with the health. It's everything to do with the culture and the pop stars that are taking it. It has taken the average healthy looking body and has skewed the look of it like crazy. So now you see women that are completely underweight, abusing the drug. Yeah. Tons of women, influencers, celebrities, people like it doesn't even matter. And then it just moves the goalpost to like, hey, this is a healthy body you should be striving for, to this is a malnourished body that now is the new thin and the thing that you need to be striving for. And then there's these young girls, and me even, not really me, but because I know more about it, but it's like, there's these people that are like, oh, well, why can't I just look like her? And it's like, because she's abusing a drug. Like, simply.
Like steroids,
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Just like steroids. That's literally my next thought that I was going to say is, oh, why can't I look like her on steroids or him on steroids? Because they're abusing a drug. So, like, you need to know that is the case, and that is unattainable, and you're going to go down a road that is dangerous and hurting your health. Exactly. That's my gripe with bodybuilding is like, it's health, but it is so bad on your body. Like, nothing to do with health, to be honest with you.
I mean, you and I have talked about this, Brighton, because I just wrote a research paper on eating disorders with men and bodybuilding, and especially with male influencers, because we typically talk about women and all the pressure, which it's there. But there's a rise in men trying to either cut weight, where it's like kind of the wrestling thing where it can get so out of hand, like spitting in a cup for, I don't know. I'm going to get hate, but it's like, there's so many ways that we can cut that can be dangerous, like you're saying. And even the men are feeling it now because of online pressures, or like to get so big, that like you have to take something too. So there's so much pressure.
Can I just say, sorry, one more thing as I'm on this tangent, especially with men, women too. I mean, we see all the fads online, but I mean, even the Gymshark athletes, right? So many people know Gymshark athletes. That's your goal in life, is to be sponsored by a Gymshark and all of this stuff. And it's like half of those people are abusing drugs. Okay. And then it's so sad. And then you look at that and you're like, oh, I can never attain that with my genetics. So if I want to hit my goal, I'm going to have to do what everyone else is doing. And then again, it just pushes the goalpost farther and farther along. And then social media makes that worse, because it's like, it only shows you the top 1% of physiques ever. But yeah, that's my whole thought.
Okay. Ready for me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm so nervous to talk about this because I did try it and nobody knows. I didn't tell anybody that I was trying it because I was so scared of the hate. And I'll admit, I was one of those people when I first heard about it, my first thought was they're cheating. Like, oh, it's just another one of those. My thought was really, oh, it's just another one of those diets that's not going to work. And then I learned about how much it can help with PCOS and insulin resistance and infertility and all these other things.
Yeah.
And my body was just like yours. Like, my neck was so tight. Everything was so inflamed. And I was going to the gym. I've been going to the gym for a year straight, at least 3 times a week. That's my minimum. Lifting weights, like, and eating whole foods. And I've been, like, eating whole foods for a long time. So I really have been working on being healthy. But I would go get these massages and, like, I didn't even know where the issues were radiating from. Like, my neck was tight, so it was pulling my jaw out. And I would have, like, multi-week periods. And, like, it was just, I felt like a disaster because there was so much inflammation in my body. And so I tried it, and I have nothing but good things to say about it.
Wow.
Nothing. Like, and I actually lost weight fairly fast, but it wasn't even about that for me. It was how quickly I felt like I had a neck again. And I felt like the first thing I ever noticed was I was on a walk with my dog, and I felt like my arms were, like, open. Like, I felt like my heart was open. And I do yoga. I stretch. But when our bodies are stressed, like, everything tightens, and I just have felt tight. And so to be able to, like, feel soft, like I can jump and, like, play, oh my gosh. And I had a really hard time deciding to do it because I am very holistic and I don't take, like, any medications, no Tylenol, nothing. So it's a big deal for me to decide to try it. Like, I chose to not tell anybody because it was hard enough for me to decide for myself, and I knew everybody else's voices were going to affect my opinion.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to, like, I'm trying it for me. I'm going to see how I feel. And oh my gosh.
And it's been how long?
So I did it. I haven't taken it for 2 weeks. I did it for a month.
That's what I was wondering. Are you still on it? Or I don't actually know, like, how it, like, the dosing or, like, how it works.
No,
or
so I
anything.
was they start you on a minimum dose, and I was on just the minimum dose, and I lost, like, 8 or 9 pounds on it. And I know that most of it was just, like, inflammation, like, stress.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it doesn't really weigh anything to have inflammation, but does it?
So I actually don't know.
There's water weight.
I've been thinking about that water weight. I think, like, water weight, your body holds water. But I would be curious about that. Like, because Mom was saying she didn't lose weight, but her inflammation went down, which can happen even when you're on a regular diet. Like, they say that's why some people, instead of the scale, if it's like that's a triggering thing for you, and if this isn't, because this could be too, but, like, measure your inches instead, because that.
So I actually haven't lost any inches.
Yeah.
But I have lost weight, which is just so interesting. But I can also tell, like, my tummy with PCOS and endometriosis, like, I looked 7 months, 8 months pregnant all the time. Like, my tummy was so swollen that I have stretch marks on my tummy, and I've never even had a baby. Like, that's just how much it will swell and how fast it will swell. And this has helped me so much just feel like my body is, like, calmed down. And, like, when I was deciding to do it, so hard and scary to decide, but ultimately what made me decide was, okay, if this really is an opportunity for me to feel healthier and better, would I regret doing it or would I regret not doing it in my future? And I saw myself as an old person, and I was like, I would regret not trying it, because if that's going to give me more life to my days, then I'm going to try the tool, even though it goes against my holistic beliefs. Like, I'm going to try it. And it has helped. My knees were, with all the inflammation, I know that my meniscus was about to tear. Like, I could feel it every time I'd step because everything was just so tight. Totally gone. Within a month, like, everything is just relaxed.
Do you guys feel like you had any side effects or weird cravings of food, or, like, anything just interesting that maybe the listener would want to, like, know about before? Mom, you said you had cramping, which I've heard that that's a normal, like, stomach cramping and stuff, because your stomach is literally slowing down digestion.
Yeah, at first, for sure I did. I would feel cramping and a little bit of nausea. But the other thing that was interesting is I would only feel that way usually if I ate like burgers and fries and something that like it almost helped me feel what I did. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because I wasn't digesting it as fast, I would feel like kind of like, oh, I chose to put this in my body and it's going to sit here for a minute. And it almost in a way helped me choose things that I could digest more easily.
Interesting.
I don't know if that's an intended, but just that's what it was for me. But so the cramping and a little bit of nausea at first, and now I rarely feel that way. The other night I did a little bit, but I feel like it's just kind of evened out and it doesn't. Now I just have kind of, I don't know, I guess my new normal. Last week, it was interesting because I was around a lot of people eating a lot of food and I ate a lot more. And I actually gained a few pounds, which I'm like, that's fine because for whatever reason, if that's what my body is going to do and this is the food that I felt like eating, I'm not going to feel bad about it, So I'm just trying to kind of take it how it goes. And if there's a point where I feel like it's more harmful than helpful, then I would stop,
For sure.
I have no desire to get super, super skinny. I used to, when I was younger, worry about, I think after I had baby number 5, I was like, oh, I need to get down. I got down to 117 because I was like, I'm done having babies and I want to be this, the smallest I've ever been. And I was, but it wasn't sustainable because I was doing like HCG at the time, and I'm like, that's not sustainable. And I don't want that. So for me, I just want to get to my normal regulated weight, which was between, it doesn't even matter what the weight is. But I would just want to get to a place that before was my body's normal regulated place. I don't want to get below that. I have no desire. And also I love, you brought up the muscle loss and stuff. I love my scale called Renfo. And when I weigh myself, it picks up how much water's in my body, my muscle mass, my there's different kinds of like fat that you have, subcutaneous fat and
visceral fat.
And so like instead of watching the number and like hyper fixating on it going down, I watch my metabolic age. So like where I'm almost 50 years old in the fall, I'm 49. And when I started this whole thing, I think I was up to 54 years old. So that's what I'm looking at, like my age. And now I am 52 years old. So my goal, honestly, my biggest goal is to watch all my levels. And I know it's not going to be an exact science with a scale like that, but it's at least something. I want to be my actual age.
They actually, they talk about that with cardio, which we kind of touched on again in the weightlifting episode. There's this thing called a VO2 max, and that's what shows, that's a really good marker of health, if that makes sense. And then it ties into your age range and whatnot. And so that's another reason why people do cardio, is not just to like be skinny, but it's literally to reverse their what is it called? Age, biological age, or whatever it's called.
It's metabolic. I might
metabolic
be saying that wrong.
age or it's something age. I can't remember either, but that was just a random thought. That's another reason why people do cardio, because it's linked to like longevity. So if you can like elite athletes and runners, their age is usually like 15 years younger than like what they actually are. Maybe not 15, but yeah.
Yeah, and I am staying in touch with my doctor as well to watch and just make sure.
I encourage that for anyone, is keep checking your levels, and you're doing all the things.
Yeah.
I want to say something too. In answer to your question, you asked if I had symptoms. People are like so scared of hair loss and all these things. I didn't have like anything. I was so scared to be exhausted or like all those symptoms that everyone says. Like it's different for everybody, but I didn't have those. And I was on the lowest dose, and like I guess my advice would be approach it from every angle. Like I'm also lifting weights.
Yeah.
I'm also drinking water. I'm also eating a lot of fiber and protein. Like and taking multivitamins. Like I was already doing all those things, and this is just adding to it. And I think that that's where a lot of the abuse of the drug can happen. Is I don't even know if I want to call it abuse, but some people won't change their habits at all, and they'll just use it as a crutch.
and up the
then-
dose if they're not losing
and
weight.
keep upping the
and
dose.
it's
But
like,
the more you up the dose, the less your body knows how to produce it itself. And so
yeah.
it's better to stay lower so that your body knows how to keep producing that hormone.
Mhm.
And
That's why people hate it too. They're like, it didn't work for me because when I got off it, I gained. And it's like, because you didn't learn the natural habits of your body to sustain what happened on the drug.
yeah. And I'll admit, I'm scared of the inflammation coming back. Like,
yeah.
I am scared of that, but I'm also like, you don't know how much pain you're in until you don't have the pain.
Mm.
And I really realized, holy crap, I don't have to be living with my neck so tight it's popping my jaw to the side. Like,
Mhm.
I can actually age backwards and feel better. I'm not just all of a sudden getting old and I'm in my 20s, you know?
Mhm.
So let's talk about the shame side for a minute, because
Yeah.
I think that it's a big thing. And I mean, it's something that we face in every aspect of our lives, I think, is, you know, Brene Brown talks a lot about shame, and not in this context, but the self-judgment. I think it's kind of like we have this preconceived idea about how I'm going to achieve something or what it's supposed to look like. And if I would choose to not to take any, I'm like you, I rarely take Tylenol or anything. So I would rather not have anything in my body. And I do believe that I believe that I could have done it on my own without it. That's my belief.
Mm-hmm.
And so then the shame is like, well, then why don't you?
Mm-hmm.
And I sit with that and I go, "Ah, I have been trying for over a decade to regulate and to get back to what it has always had been, and I haven't been able to. And so I just turn it on myself. What's wrong with me, you know? And then I'm in study performance psychology, and I'm like, you know how to set the goals, you know how to have the right mindset, you know how to work through this, you know about hormones, you know, you see a hormone, why can't you do it on your own? And so I do feel some self shame, like frustration,
Yeah.
that I haven't been able to figure it out on my own. And then on the other side, I feel like so grateful that there's something that is helping me feel a new lease on life, because I feel like I was watching myself die. I hate to say that, but like my personality was affected by not feeling like I could move as easily, and like my energy of like I have more energy now, and I feel like I can lift weights now and do things because
It's motivating.
it's motivating. And so there's so many aspects that come into it. So what do you think about
Okay.
that shame side?
I have something to say.
Yeah.
I listened to a podcast from Mel
Robbins. Mm-hmm. She's awesome.
about GLP-1. She did it with Dr. I think it's Shauna W, something like that. But it was so good. I mean, if you look up Mel Robbins and GLP-1s, she just did the episode. It just came out. And just hearing like, one, how long it's been around. I didn't know it's been around since like 2004.
Oh.
Yeah, it was made to help diabetics
Yeah.
before anyone
Yeah.
else. Yeah.
So side note, I was diabetic. My insurance paid for it.
That's a
This-
whole topic.
The second that I got down where I should be,
They stopped.
no, now I have to pay $1,000 basically a month. And I know that there's compounds and different ways to do it cheaper, I hear, but I wanted to stay on the one I had started. So, but I either pay now or I pay later.
Exactly.
Anyway, keep going.
And you're getting healthy, and so of course insurance doesn't want to pay for
Yeah.
it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I'll just be the conspiracy theorist
No.
on the podcast.
Not even. I don't think anyone would disagree with you there.
I have done so much research on this, honestly, and the amount of heart health that is happening from them, and the amount of like fatty liver that's going away, because like when you lose weight,
I had fatty liver too.
yeah, like
And visceral fat.
I had
That's
visceral
the
fat.
dangerous
Yes.
fat.
And that's going down. I had both of
Yeah.
those.
So there's subcutaneous fat. That's like the fat you see. And then the visceral fat is within your
It's in
organs.
the, yeah.
And it's not like within them, but like on them. And so that's where the phrase skinny fat comes from, is there's people that can be almost diabetic that looks like skinny on the outside. And that also has to do with like no muscle mass. But anyways, keep going.
Yeah.
it was just an amazing podcast.
What did they say? I'm so curious. I love
gosh.
Mel Robbins.
She just addressed how society thinks that obesity is a choice in a way, where it's like, well, you ate too much and you this, and like there's so many like beliefs around it, but like it's so much bigger than that. And it just gave me a lot of grace for myself in the way that she talked about it. And that was one of the last things that I listen to before I decided to actually do it.
Hmm.
So if you're like thinking about it, that podcast was just awesome to get a doctor's point of view, because we're not doctors and we're telling you our experience, but
Yeah.
there
We
are
are
so
not
many
sponsored
people.
by Monjaro. Please. Please.
Yeah, please. Way too expensive.
Yeah, we are. That's so funny. Yeah,
funny.
Yeah, go ahead, Britt.
It cuts to an ad read, and we're like, "This episode is sponsored by Ozempic."
So funny.
That would suck.
That's horrible.
gosh.
Everything we don't believe in. That's
Yeah.
really funny though.
A shame.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I don't have a ton to say. I feel like I've said a lot on like an outsider's perspective looking in. I think, like I said, it's like I just believe in longevity. So it's like, however to get there is great. If you feel like it's helping you, it's making you healthier. You're not taking it in any wrong way where like you're already a healthy size and you're wanting to get, down more and all of those things, and you're eating your protein, you're lifting weights, like I said, it's just like, I just think it's another tool in the toolbox. I don't think, I see a lot of people, in the fitness industry that hate on it and roast and shame, and it's just like,
And they're on steroids.
exactly. Like exactly. I will say though, this lady just got caught where she
Yeah.
sold a weight loss program. This is everything I hate with the fitness industry. She sold a weight loss program and she's been taking Ozempic.
Oh,
And then so she just came out and said like,
I am selling no weight loss.
yeah. And so again, it's like it's everything we already ever know is like, oh, you can also sell a muscle building workout program and you could be on steroids and you wouldn't know.
But how sad. I like keep thinking about her. I'm like, everyone's roasting her. And I'm like, she was doing her best too.
Yeah.
Like we're all just trying. And yeah, she sold a workout program.
Yeah, and it was like super expensive, and I was
Was
just
it
like,
like weight loss or workout?
yeah, it was just like a weight loss, like nutrition and workout. I don't really know what she sold.
Yeah.
I know it was like a couple
I've seen a lot of
$100s.
videos pop up, but
I
I
was
feel
like-
bad for her. It's more
Yeah,
my
that's
empathy
hard.
heart that's like, because here we are talking about it on a health podcast, and like I saw that, and that's why I was so scared to talk
Yeah.
on this.
Yeah,
today.
exactly.
Like, look how hard she got canceled for being honest. She came forward and said, I want to
Exactly. She could have not said anything.
Yeah.
I know. And so, I actually appreciate her like coming out. Do I think it's right to do in any way? Like get a BBL surgery and then sell a booty building program? No. And that happens all the time. But I mean, good for her for being honest.
Yeah.
She did not have to be honest, and she was.
Basically, everyone's going to have an opinion on your life.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone. And we are choosing not to care today.
Yeah. Well, even my Renfo scale that I love, not sponsored by Renfo, but that would be cool too.
That would be cool.
But I do laugh on their app because it says, I'm watching all the markers, and it says obese. So there's the different ranges that it marks it. And I was just telling Whitney the other day, I am now acceptable. Like I'm in the
I know, like the word they chose.
Yeah.
I was like,
I'm in the
dang.
acceptable range. So I'm not even considered in my healthy range. Now there's a lot of opinions about, healthy or not healthy or all that kind of stuff. But I have to laugh at even the word that my health scale says,
Totally.
well, now I'm acceptable.
Yeah. Even like when I talked to my first nurse about it, she asked my weight and my height, and she's like, congratulations, you qualify.
damn.
And I started laughing, and she didn't laugh, and I was like, I'm sorry, that's funny.
She probably practiced that in the mirror. Like, how do I say
Or
this
is
in the
just
nicest
oblivious that like
Yeah.
that doesn't
That doesn't sound good.
Oh my gosh.
But whatever, like everyone's gonna have an opinion. It ultimately comes down to how do you feel inside.
Yeah.
Like there are people that are gonna think it's right, and there are people that are gonna think it's absolutely wrong and unhealthy about everything you do in life, what religion you choose to be, like literally who you choose to marry, everything.
Yeah.
But like if you feel good inside, and that's why I feel like it's so important to get still. And we did a meditation episode last week on like, okay, I'm sitting with myself and my own thoughts about this. And I can speak from experience because Cam, my husband, is like very against, like he's not just like, oh, I don't take medicine, like he's against Western medicine. And so I had to get still alone before I even told Cam to see what I needed to do. And like I think everybody needs to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, go from your heart and
Yeah.
do your own research too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
research.
Yeah, it's so individual. And I guess that's what I would say is I have no judgment for somebody that would take it or wouldn't take it or anything else, honestly. Nobody's walked your shoes, and
Yeah.
so just having compassion for other people and for yourself. But what about a tip? Yeah, for people listening. Now, not everybody's here to try it or to not try it, but maybe the tip would be related to shame or
I have one.
self-judgment or not comparing or whatever.
This, I think it needs its own episode. But I think the tip is, this is actually, I don't know if this is the tip. It's hard because it's just a topic I think we need to bring back. So maybe it's not a tip. It is. Who knows? Be aware enough to see if maybe you are emotionally eating.
Yeah, that's good.
So we talked a little bit about, there's a study, or not a study, you're going to find this interesting. When people get lap band surgery, so like the surgery that, there's a few different ones, but it basically shrinks your stomach and makes you eat less portions, right? Do you want to know the number one concern doctors have after the surgery, what they're watching for? Is suicide. Because it took away their only coping mechanism. And they needed to find other ways to cope and to feel all these, like dopamine, all these things that you get from food, sometimes if you are using food as that way to get it. And so I kind of view that also with what you were saying with your experience with Ozempic, is like I was still eating even though I was full because whatever reason, any reason. I just think that's such an interesting topic. It just needs to be touched on more, is like regulate. So I am reading this book by Julia Cameron, who wrote The Artist's Way, and it literally talks about writing for weight loss. This is going to sound really weird.
I have that book.
I stole it from you. That's why I have that book.
Okay, yeah.
I'm like almost done with it. Super
Yeah.
interesting. Some of the tips she gives on like other
I haven't read it yet.
health stuff, I'm like, don't listen to that. But the writing thing, interesting. So I've been not like I'm trying to lose more weight, but I've been writing before I eat some things and just
For
think,
awareness.
For awareness. How do I feel? Oh, I feel really stressed right now. It's just super cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. And in the show notes, we have our free book list if you want to get it. And that book's on there. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
It is.
I looked at it yesterday.
Cool.
Okay, I think my tip, which I also want to say, we talk a lot about like losing weight on this episode, but like we are not, like you don't need to lose weight.
It's the inflammation and stuff too, like you
it's
said.
just what we're experiencing at the moment. But my tip is to not over-explain yourself. Because the amount of mental work I had to do coming into this episode, I didn't know if I would share if I've done it or not. And I really have been like grounding and shielding my energy, and Brighton didn't even know. I surprised her on this podcast.
Nope.
But you don't have to explain yourself to anybody. Like, if you feel good, trust it. And then if you have
anything,
and if you have people that you feel safe telling what you're going through to, that are not going to like push their beliefs onto you, then yeah, support helps too. But don't over explain yourself. You don't owe anyone an explanation.
I love that.
So good. Okay, now I've got to think of a tip. I think for me, it's kind of the same thing, self-awareness, in the way that I really feel that I'm at a place in my life where I am not body shaming all the time. And I do have a lot of love for my body and just the process that I'm going through, body, mind, and soul. And I feel like I'm in a really good place. I don't feel in a place of desperation or even like self-hate. Like I feel like I've worked through a lot of the things I have had to for the past decade when I've seen my body changing and not being able to like figure out how to help my hormones and all the things. For me now, it would be more, maybe it's kind of what you're saying, not looking outside of myself or like not looking online about what should I look like at my age or what am I acceptable, or am I obese, or am I healthy? Do you know what I mean? There's so many terms and boxes we want to put each other in.
It's like, how do you feel?
How do you feel? It's that self-awareness. So it's really kind of what you're both saying. It's what's my self-awareness and self-love, and to make the best decision inside of me. And that's hard. I think that's hard. I think it's something we have to practice in our lives in so many ways. And this is just another place that it shows up. But I'm grateful to be able to talk about it. I didn't know if I would ever tell anyone, but honestly, I didn't tell anyone for several months when I wasn't even losing weight. I was like, there's nothing to tell. But then people started saying like, oh, you're just like, you look so healthy, or you're looking like you have more energy, or, you know, people started noticing, and I'm like, yeah.
Can I, this is,
Yeah,
I
go
think this needs to be said.
Yeah.
This is super interesting for maybe the listener that knows of a lot of people on GLP-1s and stuff. What I've noticed within myself is like when people don't talk about it, and then people are starting to change and lose weight, and like you're like, why is everyone else losing the weight and doing the thing, and I'm staying the same? I can't do it. I mean, you don't have to like ask people, whatever, but just like maybe be aware of like there's a lot of ways to get there, if that makes sense. So maybe if you're doing something that other people aren't, vice versa, it's like, yeah, don't compare yourself to other people's journey, because maybe it's different and they're having a different way to get there.
Maybe somebody's losing weight because they're sick.
Exactly.
There's so many things we have to be cautious of, and weight loss isn't like the holy grail of like health and wellness. It really isn't. It's such a personal
But
journey.
yeah, that's a thought, like, because you said people in a certain neighborhood were talking about how they were all doing it, but let's say they weren't talking to each other, and there's someone that isn't on that. I just think about that person of like, oh, well, why is everyone able to like do this thing that I can't? It's just an interesting
I
thought.
love that point, and I would have said it for my tip if I could have thought about it, because the benefits of community and conversation are so big, and it's not just this topic, it's anything. So, and that's at the end of the day, that's why I chose to just speak freely about it, because when we keep things in darkness, no matter what it is, any topic, we start feeling like something's wrong with us, or nobody can relate with me, or judging, and the more we can bring to light, like, oh, I felt trauma, I felt these things, this is how I worked through it, and somebody else is able to say, thank you, that really helps me in my life. Or, you know, Brighton saying like, you know, oh, I really wanted to be stronger, and I showed up at the gym. I was so frustrated. And then other people go, you experienced that? Oh, I'm not alone. We just can start feeling less alone, more community, and realize that, I've said this before, we are more alike than we are different. And we might choose different paths and do this or not do that, but we need each other to experience and learn in life, and to have open conversations. So if that's all that comes of this podcast today, I think it's worth it.
Love that.
We love you.
Yeah, we love you. What about our little freebie thing?
Oh yeah,
The book
You
list.
said it.
book list.
Book list. And that's it. But thanks for joining in. We love having you here.
Until next time.
Until next time.
Sweet.